Do you want to let's talk about the football aspect first? No, let's talk about the attendance number first because
So
the
speaking
attendance
of numbers,
number is really bothering me. And then we will talk about the football aspects. So I was curious, as we mentioned, there were, as we mentioned, I didn't go to the Blue White game this year. Didn't even drive into town for the Blue White game. Um, pretty, particularly because I saw the weather, and I was curious as to what the attendance was going to be reported or guesstimated or told to me as. And it was told to me as 67,000 people were inside Beaver Stadium for Saturday's scrimmage. And I don't know. I wasn't in the stadium, but I did watch pretty much the entire game on TV. I looked at pictures that people posted. You're telling me that
I'm not telling you.
80, sorry, Penn State Athletics is telling me that 80% of the lower bowl was full on Saturday. I don't believe it. I don't buy it. That would have made, looking at our dear friend Mike Portman, that would have made the blue white game, that this weekend's blue white game, the second most attended blue white game since 2018. And there's no way, with how crappy the weather was, with how screwed up the parking situation was. I'll get to that in a second too. I just, I, there, like, what good does it do, as you said to me earlier? Like, what good does it do to overinflate that number? There's no reason for it. Done.
The attendance had not been on my mind or even a thought until you sent me the number. And then you sent me the number, and I'm like, well, why would you make up that number of all the numbers you could make up? If that's the case, if there were 67,000 people, there might have been 67,000 people in and around the stadium, right? And I didn't go over there because we were on campus, but yeah, there was probably 60 some thousand people in town, maybe close to 70 around the stadium at some point during the day, but not in the stadium. And if that's the number you're going to go with, then next year when they play Ohio State, the number should be 252, 161. Like, I mean, it's just, it doesn't make sense. And I don't know it's insulting to fans and people who support the program for them to put a number out like that. I think it is. I just think it's disingenuous. And if that's what they're going to tell you about that, what are they telling you about other stuff? That's all. Like, it just tell us the real number. It's okay. Everybody knows it was windy and crappy and it's a practice.
Even if it's 40,000, like everybody collectively can point to that number and say, yes, like you said, the weather was icky, the grass was not great in the days leading up to. Who wants to park in that? I just it feels very disingenuous, and it feels, as you said, disrespectful. And I don't know, like part of me like grapples with like, why do we even care about that? And part of that is just because this is one of the things that we tend to talk about on this podcast of sports business and sports media, et cetera. But I do agree with your point of like, it just feels like they're pulling a fast one. It's I don't know what the exact word is, but it's just disingenuous to people that were actually there, because everybody who knows that was there, or anybody who tuned in on TV, could tell that that was not an 80% full stadium or a 70% full stadium, I guess would be the better way to put it, with what seats were closed off.
Yeah, and I guess the only way, just quick thinking about where it could maybe benefit is right. You're talking to sponsors and partners. Look how well attended our spring game was, right? And if they're not looking at videos or whatever else, I'm like, oh, okay, this many people care about you. Maybe there's that. But gosh, if it's that, then do you want to be that partner or whatever else that was sold that as a basis for your relationship? So I don't know. I just don't like 40,000. Okay. And I'm not even, doesn't even, I don't even blink an eye. Okay. Yeah, that number's inflated, but it was a tough day. 67,000 is a lot of a number to make up. And if somebody wants to make that number up, what else are they making up about the program that they want me to support? That's all. That's where I go.
Well, and I think it would be one thing if last year they didn't report, like I think last year they reported 65,000. So you're telling me last year, which actually was a better weather day, had more people or less people in the stands than this past Saturday. I don't believe that. And I think that's a good point about like the ethics and all of that too. Like if I don't know, that just feels sketchy. Just feels sketchy to be like, hey, here's the attendance, and this isn't really what the attendance is. Like, obviously, like I wouldn't base my business decision off of the blue-white game by any means, but I don't know. It
But the
just
next
felt,
part, the next PR move by them will be when all the spring games conclude in 2 weeks and everybody reports attendance numbers. It'll be for the 10th year in a row, Penn State has had a top 15
yeah,
attendance number in the nation for its spring game. It hasn't, right? Or at least didn't this time. And I don't know what the loss is by not being in that number this time. It's really okay to just
yeah,
be what you are, be good at what you are, and don't oversell it. And yeah, I mean, I hadn't thought about it, but the more you think about it, the more I saw it, like it feels disrespectful. Fans are shelling out money to be there. They want to be a part of it. Let them be a part of it. Celebrate how they were, enjoy it, but don't BS them about what they experienced or what they didn't experience.
yeah.